G'day, shalom, assalam.
Salam, brother. How are you?
Good to catch up with you
Always
again, brother.
good to see you, Ami. Always good to see you.
Mate, so much going on since last time I seen you.
Indeed.
We had a good event last night where we both spoke, even managed to hit some protesters. I don't even know why they came, which is going to lead on to what we're discussing here. But let's go on first about last night. How'd you find it?
I found it very interesting in the sense that we had an event, a hall packed with very aware, educated individuals that knew exactly the value of this dialogue, that you have a Jewish man and a Muslim man and a Christian woman coming together. They understood the value of having such events in Australia.
And it was good. The crowd was really open to discussion and really welcoming. Love Brisbane.
Fantastic.
Have you been to Brisbane before?
I have, but the weather wasn't as nice. It was pouring rain. Now it's sunny, nice, really nice. Shame I have to leave soon, but yeah.
And you caught up with Pauline Hanson.
I did.
So check out the interview after the live feed, and obviously share this live feed because why not? Because I said to. But what I found exciting, you saw last night, there was a protest at the front of this event. This event had nothing to do with Palestine.
Right.
There was a protester out there. I went up there.
Just the fact that you have one Jewish man.
I tried to work it out. It came down to there was a Jewish man, so there was a protester. So it got me out there to discuss the issue, and then it gave me the idea that I would love to hear your perspective on the conflict right now in Gaza. So a couple of days ago, we had 62 dead. The left went absolutely ballistic, going Israel, all the typical rhetoric we're used to hearing, that this dangerous apartheid authoritarian government is killing poor Palestinians. Then the next day Hamas reveals that 50 of the 62 were actually their operatives. Those are the 50 that they told us about.
Right.
What are your thoughts?
Well, to begin with, we have a border that was violated and they crossed over. They weren't seeking asylum or anything like that. Even that would have been outrageous the way they did it. But then we found out they had come with weapons. They were heavily armed. Not only were they heavily armed, they were heavily trained. Not only were they heavily trained, they had already prepared for this on Facebook. How Facebook let this happen, I don't know. They were preparing for it on Facebook groups, telling people how to carry the weapons, where to conceal them. And Hamas is a terrorist listed organization internationally. And its members are banned from entering certain countries. Nobody gives them arms. Only corrupt governments give them arms, such as Iran and so on. And for them to come into a country, any country, their neighbor Israel, and to do such a thing, obviously Israel is going to defend itself. And that's the job. The plan was to take as many hostages as possible, because killing people would mean nothing. And what a strategic time when people the whole world, the media and everything is busy with the opening of the US Embassy in Jerusalem. They turn around and shift global attention through leftist media. They are the ones that do Hamas's dirty work. Instead of covering that major event, they come and they cover the border. And it's very interesting how all of a sudden everything is set up. It's like whatever's said first sticks. Very interesting how everything was set up from Jerusalem all the way down to the border. It's as if it was really planned really well. That's how I see it. Then we have the new propaganda videos where people are laying down and they're being covered up as dead, and one of them sneezing, and right, it's disgusting. It's disgusting.
Hollywood.
Yeah, it's disgusting. And the truth is, if the Hamas terrorists had done that to Saudi Arabia or any country, they would have been hung upside down and beheaded immediately.
And that's a good point. See, people need to understand it. And what frustrates me is this hypocrisy. If any Arab nation did it to each other, no matter what their backstory of conflict was.
Yes.
If any, they would kill thousands of them, and the left, those that are outraged here on the streets in Melbourne, everywhere, would be quiet.
Correct.
Why? Why is it?
Well, I think it's basically because the narrative is a corrupt narrative right now. It's like you can be oppressed by a terrorist, but you have to understand the terrorist. Let's find out where they're coming from. Let's listen to them. And ignore the fact that this person who wants to enjoy the democracy that we have here doesn't believe in democracy and want to kill all of us. And that's the best evidence that we have right now, that You have a fence, and it's not even on Palestinian soil. It's actually much further down into Israel.
There's a buffer zone of about, from memory, I served on that border for a while.
Right.
I think it's 100 or 200 meter buffer zone. So you've got to understand, those that have already got into the fence, those that were at the fence, those that cut through the fence, those that got through, already past 100. You know how many warning fire shots they would have got?
Yeah, sirens and so on.
And it drives. They even fire next to them. I was a sharpshooter there. I know that was my job. And the thing is that you got to understand is, people say to you, oh, they killed 62. There were thousands upon thousands there. The ones that got shot at had already passed the point, had already passed. But then you have, like last night, I don't know if you saw the video, I went up there and I was talking, and these guys deny fact, they deny reality. These are left-wing Australians that are just meant to be all about tolerance. They deny that they had weapons, even though the videos are out there on Hamas's own propaganda. They're showing that they post to encourage, like you said, people to take weapons, to fight the Jews. They want this footage. They take babies to the front line so the Israelis could accidentally kill them, and then they have a great media. But these leftists, they deny reality. They deny that even when Hamas claims them at their own, they go, no, that's an Israeli propaganda. Even when you see the videos with them with weapons, no, that's Israeli propaganda. Even when they say to you 62 died, and you just put the question to them, you go, but listen, if Israel wanted to massacre, there were thousands there. Why don't they just drop a little bomb and watch how many thousands die? And you correct me if I'm wrong. Any other Arab nation would have dropped the bomb.
Would have done it, yeah.
But Israel targets those that are. When do they want Israel to be allowed to defend themselves? These people say to you when they're right in front of them. These are bullshit. They are okay with those Islamists to wipe out the Jewish nation. That's it. That is what we're talking about here.
I don't really think it's a matter of Israel. This is my opinion. I don't think it's a matter of Israel. I don't think it's a matter of borders. What I do think is it's a matter of existence. The Palestinians and their supporters don't want you guys to exist.
The Jews.
Exactly. They don't want you to exist. And whether you exist or not, with a border, without a border, how you protect the border, you're not supposed to exist. And that's what really hurts. I mean, me and you are friends, and we can get along together. We have a meal together. We have joint events together. I would stick up for you anytime, and I'm sure you would for myself too. So I don't see why, you and your IDF, but I don't see why we can't get along together like this. I mean, this is proof that Hamas really don't want peace. 2 days after the events happened in Gaza, on the second day I was in Sydney, and I met the rabbinical organizations, the chiefs of Sydney, and I respected all of them, Rabbi Fieldman, Rabbi Shapiro. I sat with them all. And that there in itself is proof that we can coexist, at least in Australia, as a community. Why the hate? Why the anti-Semitism? I don't understand. That just goes to prove that the Islamic leadership around the world is a corrupt leadership, and they don't want peace at all. It's not a matter of borders, it's a matter of existence. They don't like anyone that doesn't agree with them. And these are the extremists.
And so tomorrow in Melbourne, there's a massive rally being organised, and it's this alliance that is confusing to me. It's mind-boggling. It doesn't make sense between the far left, all the socialist groups, Stephen Jolly, there's the creator of Safe Schools is involved in this, and then your Islamists. This is what's so crazy. The creator of Safe Schools, who's all about this anti-bullying and gender-neutral propaganda from the far left, who wants to teach these in the schools, has aligned themselves with Islamists, and tomorrow they're marching in Melbourne at 12 p.m. and I'm going to counter, and everybody come join me. We're countering these people. But what confuses me is, why are they aligned? How does it make sense? Because at the end of the day, these people that talk about gender neutral, that are gay, lesbian, when the Islamists take over,
they all get killed.
They're the first to be killed.
Ones, yeah.
Can you understand why? Is this like the enemy of my enemies?
It is. It is. It's got nothing to do with morals, policies, respect, national security. Nothing to do with that. It's just the fact that this is a good time to attack the Jewish people. And we have a crowd that is good to utilize for this. Side with them against that.
And so tomorrow, when the Islamists and the far left unite,
Yes.
Do you think that that's an Australian? Because people criticise me.
It's a symbol.
But people criticise me. They go, Avi, when they march there, who cares? This is not an Australian problem. This is a faraway problem. You should just leave them alone. But I personally, my position is like, no. You have Islamists and leftists lining up to march on the streets in Australia, waving Hezbollah flags, waving Hamas flags. They're standing for Islamic terror on our streets. You don't have to care about what's going on in the Middle East. That should scare you. That's what you should be standing up against here in Melbourne, in Sydney. Do you agree with that position, or do you think we should just not give them any oxygen?
Well, people have the right to protest, and we can argue whether they're right or wrong. That's their right as human beings. But the fact that Hezbollah is listed as a terrorist organization and Hamas is listed as a terrorist organization, we have their flags being waved, in the skies of Melbourne. That says a lot about where we're heading. And the fact that this wasn't tolerated 30, 40 years ago, and now it's the norm, let them be. And media covers it, but won't cover the counter argument, the counter protest.
But then the media doesn't even condemn the flags.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's a norm. It's become a norm, and this is really, really wrong on all levels. It's got nothing to do. Again, your approach is a humanitarian approach, and the same with
it
mine.
demonstrates everything you say. When people
Yes.
condemn you,
Exactly.
that the
It's
moderate Muslims, the community there's a lot of extremism.
It is.
The fact that in the thousands, the fact that the Islamic Council of Victoria can support and co-host events where they are waving terrorist flags and they don't say a word, which to me says they support it. It's their event. Unless, if somebody came to my event, for example, I get called a far right, blah, blah, blah. If somebody came to my event with a Nazi flag, I would kick him out, condemn him there, make fun of him, everything. But these guys are not doing that. So to me, that says that they do support it. And that is that is everything you've ever said. It demonstrates exactly what you've been preaching for the last few years.
I guess your audience online, my audience, and a few other politicians, and I'm not a politician, I understand you do have affiliations, but many people who are speaking out, it shows you that there is a group of people in this country that are very aware and educated. They can read between the lines, they understand what is happening to their country, they see what direction we're heading in. And we're not taking, as Australians, we're not taking advantage of the serious developments that are happening around the world. Now the entire world is heading towards pressuring Iran. Iran's the main founder and funder of terrorism in the Middle East, wanting to take over every single place, interfering in Yemen, Syria, founded Hezbollah. They're terrible. They even support Hamas. They are disgusting. We should be taking advantage of these global developments. We should be taking advantage of these global developments and actually showing the world that yes, we are far away, but we do feel what you guys are going through. And we can start by dealing with the problems we have in this country. Hezbollah flags flying across the Opera House, and basically a Hezbollah flag is a man telling you that I am a terrorist, that will blow myself up should I need to. That's basically it. That he's raising the flag that he has pledged allegiance to. He supports the beheading. If an Australian citizen was to be killed in the Middle East by a Hezbollah militant, by a Hamasi thug, the person raising a Hezbollah flag in Melbourne is basically saying, I am on the terrorist side, not the Australian soldier's side. That's what it means. It goes far beyond the fact that it's just a rally. I don't see it as just a rally. It's a statement that tells you you're a power, you're an army, you're a police force, and so are we. We have our flags, we have our allegiance, and in areas of Sydney and Melbourne where you're 1 hour away from getting a gun, and we saw with Fahad Jabbar and the killer of Curtis Chang, we're not here to... I don't want to be seen as someone who spreads fear and wants to be a fearmonger or anything like that. But it's the reality. It is the reality. If I don't say it, who's going to say it? If you don't show people that yesterday that man literally said that he supports Hamas, no one will believe.
Support Hamas. I said they're a terrorist. They're an Islamic terror organization. No, they're not. Australia recognises that they're a terrorist organisation. Australia's wrong. Have you read their charter where they talk about killing every Jew in the world? they don't do that. It's denial. To me, it is frustrating, and I'm asking you all to join me tomorrow. Join me tomorrow in Melbourne, because we need to stand up. This is not an Israel-Palestine problem. This is an Australia fundamentalist Islamic problem that we have hitting our streets, and it is being supported by the far left, by the unions, by the Socialist Alliance, by people that don't realize it, but they will be their first victims. Thank you so much, brother. Always come on, so everyone can see I'm not just patting him down, I do love him.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.